Hi, this is Kevin. Welcome to part one of my tutorial for the EZU Authentication and Authorization assignment. Okay, and let me just pull over a copy of the instructions where we're going to be able to see uh, some details. Okay, so part one is where we're going to add login, logout functionality. Okay, so overall in this assignment, we're trying to uh, control who gets authenticated in Django, and then who gets what authorizations to do which activities in our app. Okay, now right now we're missing a bunch of stuff. Okay. We do have the ability to log in and log out, but as you recall, that's only related to the admin app. Okay. We'll take a look at that in a minute. And there's no uh, uh, there's no page associated with course info for logging in. There's no capability to log in for the course info app, uh, uh, and no kind of easy way to log out. If you want to do that, you have to go to the admin app and um, use the links that are on that page. Okay, well that doesn't work too well. So we'll take a tour there. We'll see how that works, and then we're going to come back and we're going to add a login page for course info, and then we're going to add enough other functionality so that logging in and logging out works pretty naturally. Okay, we're not going to control the we're not going to control the authorizations. Okay, in part one. We're going to do that. We have a part two and a part three to get that done. Okay? All right. So let's take a tour of our app as it's currently configured. So let's start up the development server and take a look. And let me pull that on from the other monitor. And as you can see, we don't have anything related to login here at all. There isn't a link for logging in. We can't see if we're logged in or not, all that kind of stuff. What we have been doing for logging in, because the admin app requires a login, if we go to admin, uh, we get the login page for Django administration. Okay, so yeah, I guess we could log in here, but the branding's all wrong. Okay. Um, but let's just see. We have a user called a tester, which we've kept all along. And we put in the tester. And yeah, we go into the Django admin app, the administration app, and you can see that as the tester, there's all kinds of things that we're able to do. If you go up into the upper right hand corner, you'll also see that we're able to log out. Okay, so if we log out, what happens? Well, we log out and it just says that we logged out. Okay, so logging in and logging out works pretty well for Django admin, but we don't have that capability right on our page, and we're going to add it. Okay, so let's go do that. Okay, what's the first thing that we need to do? Well, again, I'm working off of these activities that we need to do here that are part of the instructions. And of course, the first one is to add a URL pattern and a template for login. It doesn't explicitly say in the course info app, but that's what we mean. Oh, course info apps appear. So I guess it's pretty detailed. Okay, so we have that. So how do we add a URL pattern? Well, we've got two url.py files. Okay, we have one under course info. Okay, we got one under course info, and the other one is under the directory. And I've been trying to come up with a good name for it, and I looked at what the author of the forthcoming 3 Scoops of Django calls this directory, and he calls it the configuration. He calls it the configuration root. I'm just going to call it our configuration directory. Okay, it's got settings.py. So let's open up urls.py. Okay, the one that's in the configuration directory. Okay, and we need to add a pattern for login. I'm just going to put that right under the one that redirects a URL that's just the domain name to the section list, which is what we've got now. Okay, so let me go find that code in my already baked version. Okay, and I was looking at the wrong urls.py. Here's the right one. Okay, so let's paste that in. So I'm going to paste it in. You're going to have to type it in yourself. And we need an import for login view. Okay, so let's look at this. So if we get a URL that says login, we don't want it to go to the login page for the admin app. We want it to go to the login page for the course info app. Okay, so we're catching login. Okay, and the view that we're going to use is one of the built-in class-based views, and it's called login view. Okay, as view, and our template name is going to be course info login.html. That means that we need to add a login template with our templates. And the name of this pattern is just login URL pattern. Okay, I think that looks good. Are we ready to test this? Well, no, we're not ready to test this because we don't have the template yet. Okay, where's the template? Well, the template is part of our starter files. So we've got starter files for part 1 of this assignment, and in it we've got login.html, and I'm going to click on that and copy, and I'm going to paste it with our templates. So if I open our templates, and then I go to course info, I highlight course info, right click, and I do a paste. And it wants to call it login.html. That sounds like a good name for it. And what do we have? Well, we've got a pretty simple page. It extends our base.html. Okay. It has a title login. It has an H2 login in the content. And now it's a very simple form. Okay. What's inside the form? Well, the form uses the HTTP method post. Okay, we have this CSRF token that we put into all of our forms. to ward off hacking. The hack that it offsets is cross-site request forgery. So that's what CSRF means. And then we have the form as P. Okay, and we have a button. It's going to have the word submit. Do we want it to say submit? Well, we might come back and change it to login. We'll see. And we gave it the same class that's going to give it that pretty blue button that we've been using on the rest of our buttons in the last couple of assignments. And then the text is login. Oh, I say it. I'm sorry. Type submit text login. Or it says login. Yeah. Okay, so that's it. Let's click on the link and bring this up. Okay. And how would we get a login page? Well, we go up here and match the URL that we're looking for. Well, that wasn't what I was actually looking for. Let's refresh this page. Okay, so we have this. We just want to say login. Login. And here we are. We came to a login page. It has a username and a password and a pretty blue login button. I like that. And let's test that. Okay. So we're going to type in tester and then our secret password. Okay. And it didn't like that. So let's try that again. And let's see if that works. Oh, good. Well, the login worked. Okay. But it takes us to a place that it's not really clear what we want to do. This account's profile is a page that you're taken to. It's kind of built in to the admin app that we're borrowing this view from. Okay. And we've got to find a way to override this because this isn't really any place in our app that we want to go. Okay. So how do we fix this? Well, we go to item 2 on our list, add login redirect URL to settings.py. So that's how we fix this. Let's do that. So let's open up settings.py. That's down in this configuration directory, settings.py. And let's find the proper place to put this. So I'm copying this out of my already baked version. And here's what it is. You're going to type yours in. Okay, so the variable that we're setting, login redirect URL, and we want it to use we want it to use the about URL pattern. Now, why do we want to do that? Well, because when we log in, we're going to have, and it's not too far away, we're going to have a user, a class of user, who isn't allowed to see anything but the about page. So if we're going to send people to a page, we can't send them to a page that they're not allowed to see. Okay, so let's send them to this about URL pattern. Okay, and the other change that I think we want to make is let's go back to that URLs .py. Okay, and you'll remember that we have a path, right? Yeah, we have a path. We have an empty path. Okay, and right now we're taking them to the section list. Now, do we want to continue to do that? Well, we can continue to do that for a couple of minutes, but when we get to part 2 and 3 of this tutorial, we're going to create some users who are not allowed to go to the section list. So let's just do the same thing here. Let's just send this one to the about URL pattern as well. Okay, so that is in urls.py in the configuration directory, and it's the empty path string. It's the first of our patterns. We just want to make sure that we're saying about URL pattern. Okay, so we've got those two things. I think that's going to hold us for a while. Let's go try. All right. So let's redo this. Now, interestingly, we did not go to where I thought we were going to go. So let's close this browser and let's stop the development server and let's start it again. Okay, and now let's click on the link again, and we went to the about page. So it's probably true if you make a change to settings that you're going to want to stop and start the development server. Okay, so that's where we get directed if we just use the base URL. Okay, now what about logging in? Well, okay, let's try the login. Okay, let's try that. Okay, and then let's put in our user, tester, and our secret password, and click the login button, and we went to the about page. Okay, great. That's where we want to go. Very nice. And what happens if we log out? Well, let's try to log out. Okay. We went to a logout page. Is that what we really wanted? No. Okay, that wasn't what we wanted. Why? Well, there's another place in settings.py. There's another setting. Let's close this. And let's go to our settings.py. Again, I have this. So we tell it where to go when we log in, but we never tell it where to go where we log out. Okay, so it went to the standard place that whoever wrote that code wanted to send it. That's not where we would like it to be. So we need a logout redirect URL. And I'm going to copy this from my already baked version. Okay. It's slow, but it's coming. Okay, and here we are. And pretty typically, when you're in a system and you log out, a really convenient place to go is back to the login page. This is going to help us a lot while we're testing because we're going to, we're going to log in right? We're going to show what we can do as that user, and then we'll log out. And we just want to log in as another user again. So why have to click something or type something to get to the login page? So the natural place for us to go is to the login page. Okay, so add that. Now let's stop the development server. Okay, and let's restart the development server. And let's go and we'll see how this works. Okay. All right. So we do have a problem here that we can't currently see whether we're logged in or not. We don't have anything on our page for where to go to log in, and we can't see that. We'll fix that in just a minute. Okay. Okay, so let's log in. That's good. And we're going to log in with our tester. Okay, we went to the About page. Okay, and then let's log out. And we should go back to the login page. Ooh, we don't want to log in, we want to log out. And that did not work. Well, I'm going to figure out why that didn't work. It was supposed to work, and I'll be right back. So let me put you on pause and I'll fix it. Whoops, I figured it out. We need a URL pattern for this. So in addition to the login URL pattern, we need a logout URL pattern. Of course we do. Okay, so I'm copying mine out of my already baked version. You're going to type it in. It uses a built-in view called logout view. We need to do an import for that. Okay. And I'm just going to stop and start my server. I don't think I have to, but better safe than sorry. Okay. So let's try it here. So let's log in. Go to the login page. It's just what we want. Log in as tester. That looks good. Okay, now we're logged in. Now let's try and log out. And there we are, right back at the login page. Okay, so we had to, I'm going to change the instructions right here. Okay, because they say add the logout. Oh, we forgot 3. We already have it here. Add URL pattern for logout. I didn't do that this time. Sorry about that. And then add logout redirect URL. Okay. So the instructions were fine. I just did not follow them. Okay. Now, we're getting pretty close. What's not working is, let's go to the About page, right? We come to the About page. Well, let's close the browser, okay? If we just click on the link for the site, okay, we'll come here. We're at the About page. We're not logged in. We can't really see any login information, okay? The next thing that we need to do is to add some content up here towards the top of our page so we can see if we're logged in, or we can see a link to log in. Okay, let's do that. Now, how are we going to do that? Well, we are going to add some content to that main template page that we have that's called base.html. So I'm going to open that up. Okay. And in my starter file that I created for you, I have a file called markup for login status row. That's the content that we want to add to base.html. And I'm just going to open this with an editor, and I'm going to see this content. Okay, this is the extra content that we want to add. All right, so open it and copy it. And where are we going to put it? Well, we're going to put it up in the container. Okay, we have a div that we call container that's on line number, it begins on line number 28, and we want to be before the header, which is on line number 29. So we're going to put a blank line after line number 28, and we're going to paste it right there. And what is this? Well, this is a bunch of divs. We give it, we call it the rendering that we would like to get from the layout manager is we would like it to render it like a status row. Okay, and we want it offset by 8 for columns. Okay, so those are the layout things. We give it a class of inline, right? But what's really working here is we're going to put out one of two things. If the user is authenticated, that means they've logged in. So authentication is logging in. You identify yourself and get logged in. So if the user is authenticated, we're going to put up a link for them to log out. Okay, and we're going to put their username out there. So if this is going to say something like log out, comma, a tester. If they're not logged in, it's going to be a link to log in. Okay, very nice. So this user is authenticated is a standard way to check if they're logged in. All right. So let's go and look. Look at this. So we have the status row up at the top. We've added that in. It has a login link. If we click on that, we go to the login page. Let's log in for tester. Okay. Let's give them our secret password. Okay. And look up here. Now it says log out tester. That's great. All right. So I believe that's the last thing that we do for part 1. That's properly tested. Oh, well, we haven't done the log out. Yeah, let's do the log out. We log out, we go back to the login page. If we go to the about page, well, we see where we are. Okay, if we want to log in, we get a login page. That's it. Now, I want to emphasize where we are in this transformation of our course info app. Okay, we have added authentication. That's the login part. Okay, we haven't handled authorization. Okay, different users are going to be assigned to different user groups. Okay, user groups are going to have permissions to do certain things for each of our tables, okay? But right now, even though we have authentication implemented, okay, because we haven't done anything for authorization, even if you don't log in, you can go to instructors and do everything. You can go to sections and do everything. You can go to courses and do everything. There's nothing to keep you from all of this stuff. Okay? So, we're about a third of the way there. We're doing this a tutorial in 3 parts. The first was the log in, log out functionality, which is authentication. And then we'll be back soon and we'll move on to part 2. Okay? So I'm going to say bye for now and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.